As that profession progressed and you build skills, whatever, at what point did you decide to start your own company?
During COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I guess, so what happened between when we left off, before we took a couple steps back, and when you started your own business? Did you just continue to build skill sets and experience in that sector?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was surrounded by the best of the best, and it pushed me hard, and I grew as someone, with an analytical mindset naturally. I think I was able to really grow that and evolve as a person, look at things differently. Coming from the ground, having that ground operator experience gave me a different perspective that other intel analysts and targeters just didn't have. Right? They're all school trained, riding desks, air conditioned environments their whole life, right? Yeah. Their whole career, they'd never seen that actual contact on the ground. So going in with that, I think I was able to draw on that experience, and just, I don't know, something about the Marine Corps and its NCO, NCO core, and how leadership is pushed down to such a low level that allowed me to thrive. And so, early on I was put into leadership positions. I was leading, a team of 12 varying disciplines of intel analysts. And, we're going after our nation's top targets in ISIS. And then, that opportunity and that exposure got me hungry again to go downrange, because this was all working from the rear.
Can you say who you were working for when you were doing it?
Yeah, so we were in a troop of the JIB, which is the JSOC Intelligence Brigade.
As you're still on active duty, or
no? This is as a contractor.
So that's as a what contracting company?
So the company that had that contract was a subcontractor to the prime. It was Preding was the name of that company, and in that troop, their assigned task was developing advanced analytics and targeting methodologies. So we looked at 2 ridgelines away type targets.
I gotcha.
And worked on advanced targeting methodologies to help the task forces downrange identify and find those targets, find, fix, finish, and just work that whole cycle. Okay. We're doing a lot of big data type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then, from there, like I said, I got hungry again. I wanted to deploy. So I transitioned to JIDO, which is the now DITRA. But at the time they had a special operations branch that was solely built to deploy targeting officers in support of the national tiers, or the tier 1 assets. And so I had that opportunity and deployed downrange to Iraq.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, and
sort of.
Yeah, loose tongue, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, just about everything I did over there was classified, but for the most part.
So what did you do?
Yeah. So my job was to manage all of the intelligence operations in support of developing targets for strike or a hard hit for boots on the ground raids.
I know we've got to be careful and cautious about how we talk about it, but as you're overseas, is it kind of, if I'm painting kind of a visual picture, the opening scene of Black Hawk Down, the guy on the mountain bike?
No, yeah, unfortunately,
it's not
I didn't
quite
get
that
anything
cool.
that cool.
Yeah,
I mean, I felt like I was that cool, but no, it was JOC operations.
Okay.
So we're in the JOC.
Okay, but you're over there doing it.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
Embedded with them,
yeah.
Right?
But as a civilian.
Yes.
Yeah.
And JSOC's pretty unique in how it treats its contractors.
Yeah.
I mean, we're unit members.
So so now I'm curious, for anybody listening with that kind of background, that how do you even get into that? Obviously, you were kind of funneled because you were part of that group, but somebody who's not, is that even realistic to say, well, I would want to go do that? How would they?
Yeah.
Have a recruiting department?
They do. Additionally, there's a lot of opportunities for military in service to do a joint like deployment, joint duty station, I guess, assignment. So there were a lot of individuals like that, you know, they would, you know, get deployed downrange, and they were filling different types of roles, ITC or actually all of our ITCs came from the JIB.
What is ITC?
ISR tactical controller.
Okay. A lot of the stuff that I ask, I know what it means, but
correct.
I get a lot of comments are like, dude, I have no idea what the fuck you guys are talking about.
I know. I start rolling, and it's just like all acronyms.
Yeah. All right. So you did that for how long until you decided I'm going to start my own company?
So that role was 2 years, and I was just like back-to-back deployments. And at the time, I'm remarried. Obviously, I have, you know, my children now. We had just had our first daughter, and actually, my first deployment with them was while she was pregnant, and then you know, I got back and was there for the birth, and then you know, she grew up and was like crawling when I left for the next deployment. And by the time I came home, or she hadn't even started crawling yet, actually. By the time I came home, she was walking, you know, and it was crazy.
And telling you to fuck off.
Yeah, right. Already.
Right. Yeah.
But so from there, you know, my wife was like, all right, you know, these deployments got to slow down or stop. And I tried to work with them to try to stay there, but do something a little different, get some dwell time, and it wasn't going to happen. So I went over to the unit's cyber tier, and just did that all in for 3 years.
And what does that consist of?
So my official title was Cyber Operations SME, you know, subject matter expert, and essentially, you know, the JSOC's cyber element, and, you know, doing cyber operations.
I mean, like to coin a term, like, I mean, is there any hacking type stuff involved? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's all hacking, to a degree, and utilizing cyber intelligence from those types of things to enhance understanding for those fix finish operations.
Yeah. From your perspective of having spent 3 years heavy into that, I guess 2 questions. One is the training. Does it come from the government? Do they lean on, like you see some TV and movies where they're like recruiting these 16-year-old fucking whiz kids out of basements? Like, how are they teaching you how to do this stuff? Is the first question. I'll ask the second one, I guess, after that. But
so the military has a pipeline for the cyber operators that actually execute code, and that pipeline's pretty intensive, but it relies a lot on industry standards. You know, so in the, I guess, cyber world, it's called ethical hacking.
Yeah.
And that whole genre and kind of like industry has its own standards and certifications, you know, courses and certifications that you would go through. So the pipeline for that relies heavily on those. And then from there, you know, these cyber operators are basically taught how to use the GOTS tools, so government off the shelf.
Okay.
You know, so the government essentially goes to contract companies and says, we need this capability. They build it, and it's, you know, the way I like to equate the analogy is that they build Ferraris and Lamborghinis, right? And then you go out and drive this on Sunday to 1 or 2 places, but everyone sees you driving it, and you're only as effective as, you know, you can create a pathway of surprise. Where in reality, what we really need to be doing is taking COTS tools, so commercial off the shelf, and where, you know, they don't cost the price of a Lamborghini. You could go out and buy, you know, 300 Toyota Corollas, and then you can just take that Toyota Corolla and drive it straight into the side of the Walmart
Yeah.
and do it from all sides, and someone's getting through. So
These products, they're viruses.
yeah. So when you get down into the ones and zeros, basically everything works off of standard protocols, right? So the computers know how to speak to each other using certain languages and certain protocols and approaches. And ultimately, hacking is just tricking the machine into thinking one way or another that it's performing the right operation, but you're just tricking it in a way.
So in your analogy with the Lamborghini and Ferrari is that if these viruses are so well done and so complex and so good that they actually draw so much attention, like everybody's like, holy fuck, this is a state operated, like everybody knows.
It's a signature.
Okay.
And
wow, that's fascinating.
And the problem with that is you don't drive your Lamborghini to go get groceries.
Yeah.
You take
Not
it out.
with that attitude.
Yeah, right. When you're spending that kind of money, it's not your everyday driver.
Right.
And so unfortunately, the way that the U.S. military has approached cyber has been challenging. Yeah. I think we're getting better, but unfortunately, there's just so much control from such a high level in the government that there's just this fear of, this is an act of war.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. Look at what our adversaries are doing.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that and why I have the second question I have is kind of along the same vein, but is that, within the government, everything is so delayed, and that's an industry where it's so fast moving that I can see where that would be a challenge. And also when you have somebody, who's 78 years old that's making the decision that has truly no concept of what they're making a decision on, like that's a fucking dangerous combination.
Highly.
Which leads to my second question is that if you look at the globe, ethical hackers, state hackers, whatever, just hacking from a capability standpoint, where does the United States sit ranking-wise with everybody else, state-wise?
My personal opinion, capability, we're up there.
Yeah.
Our desire to use it and our the methodology in which we do use it, we can't even compete.
Just because we're not willing to.
Willing.
So, I mean, would you say when you say we're up there, we're as good as anybody?
Yes.
Okay. It seems like there's a component of you have to be able to be offensively as good as anybody to be able to be defensively competent. Is that
our defense is not good.
Yeah.
We
so that those don't really go hand in hand.
They do.
Way?
No, they absolutely do.
Okay.
But our ineptitude and our inability to push our offense leaves us a weak defense.
Okay. Do you see that changing? Does it matter who's in the White House?
It does not.
Really?
Because they don't make the laws.
So whose fault is it?
Congress.
How do you change that?
So I'm working with some folks to do that.
Yeah.
I won't name them, but there's some senators,
yeah,
and representatives that are aware of some of this, and actually the Marine Corps is trying to push some of these things, and they're creating a cyber auxiliary force.
Yeah.
Which is co-opting those 16-year-old hackers, right?
Okay.
So we're getting there. Unfortunately, that's going to take time to build, and in order to do that, you also have to look at other things, like, for instance, drugs, right? Like, a lot of these kids that are into hacking
are also on drugs.
They're using, recreationally or for performance enhancement.
Yeah.
So we have to look at that differently.
So you're going to need an Adderall waiver for for the fucking background check.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts, man. If you're going kind of state-sponsored terrorist hacking capability, China or Russia, is one better than the other from your perspective?
They're different. So Russia's just much more open in what they do. They're definitely not trying to cover up their signature as much. They obfuscate through using, non-military, paramilitary elements, or ATPs is what they call them. Advanced threat or advanced persistent threat, APT. Yeah. And so I think that they're a lot looser in what they do and how they approach it. They're just reckless, where China is a lot more focused and controlled and deliberate in what they do. Things like the OPM hack.
Yeah.
Right. Like they're using it to think 10, 15 years down the road, who are they going to co-opt as sources, to further their goals.
And the OPM hack was what?
So the Office of Personnel Management. So basically China hacked that back in 2012 or 13, and essentially got all the records of everyone who has a security clearance.
Yeah.
And everything associated to that, right? So like OPM does all their background investigations and then has all that data stored, right? So you can then go see, okay, well, this person was, what red flags happened in their investigation. Those are now vulnerabilities that China can exploit.
They can send the 23-year-old honeypot, like they did with the fucking congressman with Swalwell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a ton of that shit. Yeah. I guess so. Outside of Russia and China, is there another player that you don't hear about, or that you would say is worth worrying about, or on? Or
Iran, North Korea. One of the opposite to that, we have some allies out there that are incredible in that space. Ukraine, if we use it correctly, right? But if you look at the way that we're aligning to Ukraine right now, essentially the U.S. government is creating slush funds out of all the funding.
Yeah, it's
that's
fucking
going over
ATM
there.
for them.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not effective. And I know from firsthand knowledge. I've been over to Kyiv and talked to them on the ground. I know what
In this position?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. As for my company.
Okay.
As a defense contractor, trying to build contract opportunities for my company.
Yeah.
And support the Ukrainian people. Because as much of the politics that are involved at the highest echelons, it looks very much like an orchestrated war. But on the ground, it's a real war.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's people dying and there's civilians dying daily. It's crazy.
So, I mean, to delve into that for a hot second, it sounds like you're a supporter of our support for Ukraine.
Not in the fashion we're doing it.
Okay.
I think that ultimately we do need to support Ukraine to stand up against Russia, because it doesn't stop with Ukraine. And then ultimately we're NATO allies, so Article 5 gets pulled and we're engaged anyway.
If they go past Ukraine.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they have every ambition to do so. Putin wants to reinstate the Soviet Empire. It's his goal. So I am an advocate in it is our responsibility for our national security interests to be engaged in
Just
that
in a
conflict.
much different way.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So you start your own business after the culmination of the 3 years spent as a contractor. Talk us through that.
Yeah. So my time at JCOG, which is the Joint Cyber Operations Group, I get there in 2018. I had just started my undergraduate or completion of that. So I'm doing international relations and diplomacy. And so I get to start studying and taking a look at global geopolitics. I come out from these, regional conflicts that we've been hyper-focused on, especially JSOC, just in the grind, right? And I'm able to kind of like pull my head back and look at what all's going on. And I look at, the shifts in global order and global power, really start diving into our national security doctrine and approach and strategies. And so I'm reading the 2017 National Security Strategy, 2018 Defense Strategy, things of that nature, looking at PPD 20, which is a presidential policy directive guiding cyber operations. And so I'm looking at all these things from a different mindset. And I start to realize that, we're hyper-focused on these regional conflicts, not paying attention to what China and Russia are doing to essentially, repave what geopolitics and what their regional, hegemon activity looks like, and how they've actually been growing and expanding their global influence. And so I'm looking at that problem set and realizing that we're not doing enough to get after it. So I start kind of beating the drum on that internally at JCOG, and my squadron commander, amazing man, just highly intelligent and efficient at his job, and understanding that bigger picture and those dynamics. So I start working with him and talking to him about, what I think we should be doing, and working on some of those more low equity exploits, low equity opportunities for cost solutions, and enabling partners doing, soft enabled cyber operations, or partner enabled, I should say. And so we look at that as a concept, and I eventually get the blessing to go forward to Afghanistan as a contractor there, and embed within one of the 127 Echo programs to develop this kind of COTS-enabled over-the-horizon capability. Because at this time, it's 2019, we see the writing on the wall, Afghan's going to go away. But in the
127 Echo and COTS.
127 Echo is a congressional line of funding that allows for specialized operations that are sensitive in nature and a secretive type of program, but allow us the ability to enable our partner forces.
There's no room for fraud there. Jesus.
Yeah. Heavy cash, heavy influence.
Zero oversight.
Yeah, lots of. But
bags of cash overseas, no accountability, auditing, or oversight. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
There's definitely been a few occasions. I think you alluded to one earlier. But given the caliber of men that are doing this, men and women, it typically does go well.
Yeah, and then COTS.
COTS is commercial off the shelf. So we're looking at essentially what I was deployed to go do, was take equipment that you can get on the open market, repurpose it, retool it with some firmware.
I gotcha.
And then basically hyper enable our partner force to go out and either conduct cyber activities or collection. And so ultimately, basically, I'm in my chew, like 19-hour days, teaching myself how to code and like repurpose these Raspberry Pis to go do this kind of stuff, and it was highly effective. I mean, we were changing the game until the lawyers got involved, and then the whole argument of Title 10, Title 50 for U.S. law and military operations and how those are conducted, whether they're operational acts or intelligence operations. The water gets muddy for that when you start talking cyber. And it's mostly just people trying to protect rice bowls. U.S. Cyber Command being stood up as a combatant command, it's the same story, like with MARSOC standing up within the Marine Corps. There's going to be a fight against that. People don't want to see their best go somewhere else, and fall under something different. So within that, the lawyers ultimately squashed what we did, but the capabilities that I developed were highly effective and used and iterated upon, and so those are now actually tools in development, or use, I should say, not even development anymore. But that feeling of just the machine, the bureaucracy crushing our ability to innovate and adapt fast enough to gain parity with China and Russia.
Yeah.
Just put a taste in my mouth. I was like, all right, you know, if I can't do this from within, I'm going to go forward and just start my own company to do it myself.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome.
And COVID gave me that ability to kind of like be at home enough that I was able to really start thinking about how I could put that into practice and make it a reality.